हेलो स्टूडेंट, अपना चैप्टर चल रहा था ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री। ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री में सबसे पहले हमने देखा कि वो उसका इंट्रोडक्शन देखा कि ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री है क्या, उसका दूसरा नाम सस्टेनेबल केमिस्ट्री था। उसके बाद हमने किस रिएक्शंस को हम ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री कंसिडर करेंगे, किसको हम जो कन्वेंशनल है उसकी बात करेंगे। तो हमने 12 प्रिंसिपल बनाए थे, 12 प्रिंसिपल्स पॉल आइंस्टाइन ने दिए हैं, जिसके आधार पर कोई रिएक्शंस फॉलो करती है इन स्टेप्स को तो हम उसको कहते हैं ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री। उसी ग्रीन केमिस्ट्री में नया टर्म है एटम इकोनॉमी। ये क्या चीज़ है इसके बारे में समझते हैं, उसको समझने का प्रयास करें। कंसेप्ट ऑफ एटम इकोनॉमी। व्हेन केमिस्ट आर considering a compound, they are concerned with the chemical, biological and physical properties of this compound and the method by which the compound is prepared or its synthesis, in order to focus greater attention on waste byproduct that are formed during a synthesis. Barry Trost of Stanford University developed the concept of atom economy. These concepts deal with the question how many of the atoms of the reactants are incorporated into the final desired product and how many are wasted by incorporation into byproducts. An example of application of this concept is discussed in the following synthesis of ibuprofen. Pharmaceuticals. Ibuprofen is a active ingredient in many analgesic and anti-inflammatory drugs such as Advil, Motrin, and Medipran. Beginning in the 1960s, ibuprofen was produced by a 6-step synthesis with an atom economy of only 40%. This meant that less than half, 40%, of the weight of all the atoms of the reactants were incorporated in the ibuprofen, and 60% were wasted in the formation of unwanted byproducts. The annual production of approximately 30 million pounds of ibuprofen by this method resulted in over 40 billion pounds of waste. But during the 1990s, the BSC company developed a new synthesis of ibuprofen with an atom economy of 77 to 99%. This synthesis not only produces much less waste, it is also only a 3-step process. A pharmaceutical company can thus produce more ibuprofen in less time and with less energy, which results in increased profits. Pesticides. Dichlorodiphenyl trichloroethane (DDT) is one of the most well-known insecticides. During World War II, it saved thousands of allies' lives by killing disease-carrying insects. But during the 1960s, the significant environmental damage caused by DDT was brought to the public attention by Rachel Carson in Silent Spring 1962. As a result of the controversy generated by this book and other media coverage, the substances used was banned in the United States in 1973. During the 1960 and 1970, organophosphates largely replaced organochloride pesticides such as DDT. These pesticides rapidly degrade in the environment, but they are much more toxic to mammals. They are deadly to wide array of insects and kill not only the largest organism but also beneficial insects such as bees and predatory beetles, and can also harmful to humans. One approach to producing less environmentally harmful pesticide is to use compounds that destroy only the target organism. One manufacturer, Roms and Haas, has developed insecticides that mimic a hormone used only by the molting insects. Insects that do not molt are not affected, leaving many beneficial insects unharmed. A more recent strategy for protecting plants from pests and diseases involves the use of genetically altered plants. This method is controversial. Concerns include cross-pollination with unaltered plants and entry of altered plants into the food supply. Another approach to protecting plants from the pests and disease is to activate their natural defense mechanism against pests or disease. Aden Bioscience Corporation has developed what is known as Harpin technology. Harpin is a naturally occurring protein that is isolated from the genetically altered bacteria. When applied to the leaves, stems of the plants, these protein elicits their natural defense system. The EPA has classified Harpin as a category 6, which is reserved for material with the lowest hazard potential. As the added benefits, Harpin also stimulates plant growth. Polymers. Synthetic polymers or plastics are everywhere. They are used in cars, computers, plants, houses, eyeglasses, pants, bags, appliances, medical devices, carpets, tools, clothing, boards, batteries, and pipes. More than 60 million pounds of the polymer are produced in the United States each year. The feedstock that are used to produce these polymers are virtually all made from petroleum, a non-renewable resource. Approximately 2.7% of all crude oil is used to generate chemical feedstocks. In order to decrease human consumption of petroleum, chemists have investigated methods for producing polymer from renewable sources such as biomass. NatureWorks polylactic acid PLA is a polymer of naturally occurring lactic acid, and lactic acid can be produced from fermentation of corn. The goal is to eventually manufacture these polymers from waste biomass. Another advantage of PLA, a polylactic acid, is that unlike most synthetic polymers which litter the landscape and pack landfills, it is biodegradable. PLA can also be easily recycled by conversion back into LA. It can replace many petroleum-based polymers and produce products such as carpets, bags, cups, and textile fiber. Computer chips. The manufacturer of computer chips acquire excessive amount of chemicals, water, and energy. Estimates indicate that the weight of chemical and fossil fuels required to make computer chips is 630 times the weight of the chip, as compared to the 2:1 ratio for the manufacturer of an automobile. Scientists at the Los Alamos National Laboratories have developed a process that uses supercritical carbon dioxide in one of the steps in chip preparation, and it significantly reduced the quantities of chemical energy and water needed to produce chips. Dry cleaning. Condensed phase carbon dioxide is also used as a solvent for the dry cleaning of clothes. Although carbon dioxide alone is not a good solvent for oils, waxes, and greases, the use of carbon dioxide in the combination with surfactant allowed for the replacement of perchloroethylene, which is the solvent used most often to dry clean clothes, although it possesses hazardous to environment and is suspected to human carcinogens. Other examples. Some other examples of green chemistry include the following: taking chromium and arsenic, which are toxic, out of pressure treated wood, using new less toxic chemicals for bleaching paper, substituting yttrium for lead in auto paints, using enzyme instead of strong base for the treatment of cotton fiber. Green chemistry reduces toxicity, minimizes wastage, save energies, and cuts down on the depletion of natural resources. It allows for the advances in chemistry to occur in a much more environmentally benign way. In the future, when green chemistry is practiced by all the chemists and all chemical related companies, the term green chemistry will ideally disappear as all chemistry become green. Avoiding waste or atomic economy. A main focus on green chemistry to reduce the amount of pollution created in a chemical processes, reaction in which a large proportion of the reactant atoms end up in the waste product contribute to the pollution, make ineffective use of resources, and raises the cost of production. While the percentage yield is often considered as a measure of how efficiently reactants are used to making a final product. It neglects to measure what fraction of reactant atom end up in the desired products versus how many end up in the product that considered best. Atom economy is the ratio and lets us know what percent of reactants atom make their into the desired product. The concept of atom economy was developed by Barry Trost, a professor of chemistry at Stanford University, who received 1998 Presidential Green Chemistry Challenges Award for his work. To quantify the concept of atom economy, we can calculate percent atomic economy. To do this, we divide the formula weight of the desired product by the formula weight of all the products of the reaction and multiply the result by 100. Formula weight of desired products divided by formula weight of all products into 100 percentage atom economy. For example, acetone, methyl magnesium bromide, NH2 in presence of ether, acidic condition. The product is isobutyl alcohol. The desired product 2-methyl 2-propanol. Formula weight 74.12. All products 2-methyl 2-propanol. Formula weight 74.12. MgBrOH, magnesium bromone hydroxide 121.23. The equation 74.12 into 100 upon 74. Plus 0.12 plus 121.23 is equal to 37.94% atom economy. This is atom economy, percent economy. Efficiency of reaction is given by percentage of Joule. We will discuss in next chapter. Thank you.